Hello, I'm Maciej, Mikos, and you're watching World Talks. Are Iranians about to topple the Ayatollah regime, and do they need help from abroad? To discuss it, we're joined by Łukasz Fyderek, Director of the Institute of the Middle East and Far East at the Jagiellonian University. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for accepting our invitation. So, what's the current situation in Iran? Because due to the internet shutdown, we only get very fragmentary information at the moment.
Absolutely. That's a rather tough question for the beginning. The honest answer will be we don't know the scale of the protests. The internet is shut down, and to complement the difficulties in assessing the scale of the protest movement, we have the ongoing, it should be noticed as an information or disinformation campaign or information operation by the Iranian diaspora, supported by the regional enemies of Iran, while the government shutdown in Tehran is and the government propaganda of the Iranian regime is trying to diminish the scale of the protest. The external, let's say, operations are trying to inflate that numbers. So it is extremely hard to determine the real scale of those protests. We'll learn that only after some time. The Iranians who are living abroad, they have it's very difficult for them to contact their family members to learn what's going on the streets in their towns and cities. So we need to be very cautious in assessing the videos and numbers coming out of Iran. Definitely the scale of the protest is a rather large one. It may be comparable to the last wave of protests from 2022. Those protests which were ignited by the Mahsa Amini's death and the...
Let me interrupt you here, because I've heard that this particular wave of protests, it has been dubbed a true revolution in comparison to what happened after Mahsa Amini's death. Now, as we are uncertain about the scale of the current turmoil in Iran, maybe we know who is protesting. And is it just, are these just youngsters, as we've seen with during the former wave of demonstrations? I mean, who's there?
Right. Okay, so in our field in political science to call it properly, well, revolution is something which we describe the phenomena which resulted in certain political transformation. We don't know if it will be a revolution. It's a mass political mobilization. That's for sure. What if we want to be precise in descriptive term, in using descriptive terms for that particular phenomenon right now. It may lead to a revolution, but it may not. Who is on the streets? Well, it started with the merchants, with the bazaris, those who sell and buy are business people or middle urban class. Particularly, the ignition came from those who are trading with the electronics, and those businesses were very much affected by the depreciation of real and by surging inflation. So that was where that was the place where the protest started. It then moved towards other strata of the Iranian society. Obviously, the young people are very much active, as was in the previous waves of protests. Students of different universities are out on the streets, but it seems that the protests are cutting through different strata of Iranian society. There is a lot of resentment towards the regime and the economic hardships, which are very much visible in Iran recently. are somehow coupled with the resentment towards the regime and those who economically benefit from being close to the power centers. So this is very much visible. And when we think about chants, what's being chanted, obviously these are anti-regime slogans, anti-Islamic Republic slogans, but sometimes we hear also slogans somehow endorsing Reza Pahlavi, but from the other videos we see that the young, but particularly young people demonstrating there opposing any form of dictatorship, be that mullah theocratic regime or Pahlavi's monarchist regime, which is also remembered by some parts of Iranian society.
Right.
And it's not a fond memory.
Yes. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that Iran may soon experience a foreign intervention. Now, there are two questions here. Whether Hezbollah terrorists will be really shooting at Iranian protesters, or maybe it's happening already. And if that's the case, should we expect the American intervention soon?
Okay, so when it comes to Hezbollah, the presence, I think it's not a feasible option. It's not a realistic option. There were some videos pointing out that among the plainclothes police force, there were some non-Farsi speakers, there were some Arabic speakers, but most probably they were the members of Iraqi militias. Hezbollah is too far away, logistically it's too complicated to bring them in, and Hezbollah has its own problems related to internal developments in Lebanon and Israeli pressure there. So I think that when it comes to quelling the protests, Iranian regime may still count on its domestic force. Let's not forget that up until now, no significant defections, neither from the Revolutionary Guard nor from Artesh or the army. So there may be some attempts to bring some additional, let's say, police force or paramilitary forces from Arabic countries. If it will happen, that will be most probably Iraq. But as for now, regime has still, its police force and army are intact. So that is regarding that part of the question about the police force and the power of the regime. There are still no signs of cracks in the power structures of the regime as we speak. When it comes to foreign intervention, obviously that's a totally different story. It will be very difficult for Donald Trump to intervene in such a large and complex country as Iran without the consent of Congress, of U.S. Congress. So the airstrikes may not be the best option. It'll be very difficult to point them in this manner that only the regime forces will be harmed. We may think about the recent 12 days war between Israel and Iran in June 2025, when one of the attacks was directed into the Evin prison, or the main or central prison in Tehran. That was sort of a test, as we may say, how the opposition-minded Iranians will react. But the reaction was negative. Namely, the Iranians were rather dismayed, or the dominant feeling was anger towards Israelis. That they are bombing a prison where the inmates, also political prisoners, are held. So it is difficult to envision how you may use military tools to get the proper political outcome, namely political transformation of that regime, particularly when you are not willing, and Donald Trump certainly is not willing to send troops or to put the boots on the ground.
Łukasz Fyderek, director of the Institute of the Middle East and Far East at the Jagiellonian University, was our guest this afternoon. Thank you very much for clarifying a lot of issues concerning Iran these days. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching, and stay with us for more interviews here on TVP World.